In early 2019, I considered the question, what is the most simple electronic health record application that could be built? What are the absolute fewest number of moving pieces that are needed? And this is all part of the purpose of trying to create an EHR application that is so fast to operate that it could replace the paper workflow of clinicians and that they would really love to use it. I nicknamed this experimental project a Simple App, and at the time I entirely forgot that the team over at Resolve to Save Lives had already created an app of the very same name and virtually the very same purpose. So well done, you guys. Well, based on the prior blog post, which discusses the 3+1 essential tasks of an EHR, the clinical user needs really three tasks. They need to select a patient, display information about that patient, and or capture information about the patient. And so if you break down this workflow, you only need an EHR really with two parts to it. You need a page to select a patient, and we're going to call that the home part of the application. And then you need a page that displays information or enables you to enter information about the patient. And we're going to call that the patient file. And so the workflow options are very limited. You either go from patient identification into the patient file to see stuff and then go back home, or you go from patient identification into the patient file to enter stuff and then go back home, or you go from the patient identification into the patient file to see and enter stuff, and then you come back home. There's a clear separation, as you can tell, between the home and the patient file. And this concept really extends from a simple two-page application into a very complex and a very large multi-paged application where you have lots of different workflows going on within that patient file. So that's it. That's the simple application. You need 2 pages. Well, there's a few questions that people might have. One might be, well, can't you see the patient list while you're already within the patient chart? This would be mentally a merging of these two parts of the application. And right now, just for simplicity, we'll keep them the home part of the application and the patient file part of the application entirely separate. There's no way to overlay the home in the patient file. You have to switch between the two. I think down the road, it's reasonable to make it possible to move to the next patient's chart from the current patient's chart, but that just adds additional complexity for the time being. Another question that might come up, well, can't you open multiple patient files on the same screen at once? Now, having multiple patient files open on the same screen at once is very complicated, both from a technical side on how you load multiple components and ensure with 100% certainty that they're all synced to the right patient. And visually, having multiple patient charts on screen poses the potential for between chart errors. And I think this needs a much longer conversation and will be a separate blog post. But the takeaway from this post is that mentally think about the EHR as being a home section where you identify the patient, and that moves you as quick as possible into the patient file where you actually see the information you need or you enter the information you have to.